it was supposed to work out better than this. And sports aren't a fairy tale. They aren't scripted. You don't get to write a good ending or whatever. But like, I feel bad that this didn't work. Here's what Elliotte Friedman had to say in his most recent 32 Thoughts blog from last night. Point number 3. I don't like to overreact to one game. For Edmonton, this is more than one game. After Tuesday's 8-3 Dallas destruction, the Oilers have no choice but to ask themselves if it's time to trade Stuart Skinner for their benefit and his. I think that slight little change in the narrative is very, very important in all of this. For their benefit and his. Is Skinner worn down by all of this? Are the Oilers finally at their wits' end with the goaltending? He goes, I understood their philosophy. Again, speaking in past tense here, I understood their philosophy. Don't waste resources on a lateral move because with the limited chips you have, you might only get one shot as being right. Friedman also dropped my favorite line that goes, like my grandmother always said, you plan, God laughs. Has a bunch of numbers about how the Oilers are not good in front of their goalies. Teammates love Calvin Pickard, yes. And then here's another one. Keep in mind, he's using the past tense verbiage. One of the reasons the Oilers wanted it to work so badly is Skinner's budget-friendly $2.6 million AAV in a tight cap situation. They felt very strongly that they had to know they were getting a guaranteed upgrade to give up on that. Now you have to ask yourself, are you losing by not trying to come out even? Is there a situation where you feel someone will be rejuvenated in Edmonton like Skinner might be elsewhere? The other question you have to ask, will a change lift our team? Is it weighing on them too? All of these questions coming in the paragraph where we are talking about Stuart Skinner, not in the paragraph where we're talking about Calvin Pickard. Very, very interesting. Point 4 also relates to the Oilers' goaltending. Nick Kypreos stirred up a hornet's nest in his trade board by suggesting Jordan Binnington could end up on the Oilers. I strongly suspect Edmonton can't trade for Binnington without his permission, even if St. Louis wanted to do it. I believe Jordan Binnington as the Oilers on his no-trade list. So,
yeah, Elliotte.
Another factor in all of this, I guess.
Elliotte went on to Bob's show yesterday and said he didn't know that, but the way people were talking to him, it made it seem like it was pretty much Edmonton was on that list. So, hey, you never know. Like, crazier things have happened. So, I wouldn't be that surprised if the Oilers made a trade and Binnington was like, you know what, I'll go. But the Jarry one has become very interesting. Obviously, former All King. I believe he lives in Sherwood Park in the summer.
I was of that belief a number of years ago. I don't know as of right now, but there was a point not long ago Tristan Jarry called Edmonton home in the offseason.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in saying that as well. He's had a good bounce-back season for Pittsburgh.
Very impressive.
9-14 this season.
Yep.
The stat everyone loves to go to. Goals saved above expected is a 1.40, which is obviously better than Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. He's by no means a superstar goalie. Is he an upgrade? I would think probably a little bit right now with just the way both goalies are playing. The money is obviously going to be a factor. He makes, what is it, $5.3 million, if I'm not mistaken, for a few more years. So I think that's part of it all as well. So it'll be a difficult trade to think of, but I think Stuart Skinner's got to go in it one way or another.
55 goalies in the NHL this season have played at least 7 games. Goals saved above expected, according to Natural Stat Trick. Jarry ranks 16th out of those 55 goalies. It's pretty good numbers. He's putting up some solid numbers. Last year was obviously tough. He cleared through waivers. I do think, again, a big product of that was just the fact of his cap hit, right? Pittsburgh maybe wanted to see if some team would take a stab on it. Mm-hmm. Last year was really bad, but he is also 30 years old. And if you go read his save percentages from the years that weren't last season, so again, 914 this year, 893 last year. 893 is bad.
Yeah.
Granted, the Oilers had a couple of 893s. 903, 909, 919, 909, 921 were his 5 years before that. And those are the years where he was either 1B or a bona fide starter. I think they're going to do this at some point.
I'm pretty confident it's going to happen too.
Just reading the tea leaves the way that we are, you have Rashog, who we'll mention again on Bob's show yesterday. And Liam, you heard it, so I didn't. But he seemed pretty definitive Stuart Skinner's not finishing the year here.
Yeah, he made it seem like a move was gonna happen. And he did point out is like if things kind of continue to go so poorly, and they are going poorly at the end of the day. So there's obviously changes that need to come in front of the goaltending too. Whoever it is, the Oilers do need to play better. There's no doubt about it. But there's a lot of smoke right now of the conversation that people have had. There's no denying. People have said it in our chat. Like, are the players tired of him? Not Skinner's personality, of course. I think we can all agree from what we see, Skinner's a good person. Calvin Pickett the same. But their play on the ice is maybe dictating a lot of what is happening for the Oilers as well, which is really too bad. But it seems just a bit inevitable that this is going to go down at some point. I would not be that shocked if it happened today. There was a lot of smoke last night, but Jarry was playing.
Yeah, Jarry was playing in the game, and Jarry had himself a hell of a hockey game as
31
well.
31 saves.
So, yeah, there's like Kevin Weeks had the tweet too. And I mean, Kevin Weeks, as much as we kind of poke fun about his like ominous skyline things, and he's always tweeting about expansion, he does get a lot of shit right. And for him to be here and saying from Kevin Weeks, I'm told 2-time All-Star goaltender Tristan Jarry is among the goalies drawing significant interest as a potential option for the Edmonton Oilers. Keep in mind, he played in Edmonton with the Oil Kings. #HockeyX. Thank you, Kevin.
Does anybody else tweet hockey?
No, God, no. I might start.
Well, get on his trend. Yeah, join the club.
And maybe, listen, this autograph session thing, like, shit, if you're the Oilers, you should have done it last night. But, like, maybe they're waiting till tomorrow for this to all come down the pipe.
Would Stuart Skinner pull Logan Thompson? So for those of you who don't know, when Logan Thompson was traded from the Las Vegas Golden Knights, he had an autograph session that afternoon, and he went to the autograph session knowing he had been traded.
Different because it was the offseason, I think.
Maybe.
I don't think Stuart Skinner's going. And that was also an upper deck autograph thing.
Was it different
it wasn't like
Vegas?
a Golden Knights team thing.
Yeah, maybe.
QF Pro just dropped in $10. We'll get to that in a second because that's good information, actually. We might be able to fix our problem. I don't know, man. I like to think I've observed the insider game long enough to kind of know that when this much stuff is getting out, there's smoke here. It's not a coincidence that within, an hour and a half, both Weeks and Friedman had some pretty harsh speculation, and then Rashog said what he said. I think we're at the end of the Stuart Skinner era, and that sucks for me. Like, I feel for him. A career in Edmonton that started with a lot of promise, and we don't need to eulogize it now because, again, there's no guarantee that this happens. But, like, if this deal ends up going down the pipe, I will feel legitimately sad.
Why would you feel sad?
Because it was supposed to work.
Interesting. I wouldn't feel sad at all. No, I want Stuart Skinner to be a good Oiler. I wanted him to be a good Oiler. He's been a good Oiler, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just know when time is up. It's like when you have a girlfriend and you're like, hey, like, I love you, but how much? What are we doing here?
Yeah, you know you're getting to the dead end. You tried real hard to make it work, and it's like there's nothing here anymore.
Skinner's lost the fan base.
Yes, and you wonder if he's lost the room. I think that's a totally fair question to ask after reading the Friedman article.
Yeah, it probably is fair. I just think it's probably good for him to go and get a fresh start.
I think it is too.
If it's, and again, we're kind of talking like it's already happened. Nothing's happened yet, of course. But like, if it was, I just think he would literally need to have a perfect season the rest of the way for him to turn this fan base around.
Well, and even that might not be enough.
No, it might not be enough. Like, we had someone comment on one of our videos today who was like, it's not a goalie problem. Mm-hmm. Nurse and Bouchard are the only problems.
Only.
And it's just like, stuff like this. It's just like, you just know, like, people aren't turning back in the favor of these guys. You can throw every positive statistic in a direction, not just on Skinner, but on anyone. And people don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They don't care. Like, people don't look back at that game 7 and think, oh, if the Oilers had just scored 3 goals, they would have won. They'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe Skinner allowed that second goal.
Yeah.
Like, the Oilers people don't look at the game 6 from this past year and be like, oh, Skinner allowed 6. Like, the Oilers scored once. They showed no signs of offense for basically 4 games. I know they ended up winning the overtime, but even that one was a dull game. But it was all the goalie's fault. And I get it. Last line of defense, you need them to make stops. Skinner needs to make stops. But there's just a lot going wrong with this team right now, and the goalies get piled on it. And people are on one side, people are on the other, and that's it.
Yeah. Josh says, it's going to break my heart to see Skinner become a top 10, top 5 goalie somewhere else, but at this point, I don't think it's ever going to happen here. And I think that's kind of the point that the organization is getting to, where like I think they know it's not going to happen here. And like Friedman kind of says, for a while this summer, you could argue, I think the Oilers really pushed back on the idea of making a lateral move for the sake of change, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, this goaltending duo, you can look at it as a fact. They brought this team to 2 Stanley Cup finals. With these goalies, they came within a combined 3 wins of winning a Stanley Cup. And even if the Oilers maybe knew deep down at some point this season, which I think we all kind of did, they would need someone better to play with Stuart Skinner, I don't think anyone, even the most pessimistic of Oilers fans, could have envisioned the goaltending being this bad. Like, we just laughed. Like, Tristan Jarry in 893 last year. What a bad season. Stuart Skinner was in the 890s last year. What a bad season. Like, I mean, Skinner was 896 last year. I'd do anything for 896 right now, right? Like, 896, you probably have 2 more wins this season. So, it's also frustrating, almost very similar for me when they fired Jay Woodcroft. Like, I understood why they were firing Jay Woodcroft. I could wrap my head around making the move for Knobloch. There was maybe a few more layers to that whole situation, but it was like very apparent that year, if the goalies had played better, they weren't making a coaching change. They do. It ends up working out for the better. Chris Knobloch's here, and I like Chris Knobloch. And like, if a deal ends up happening and Tristan Jarry ends up becoming an Edmonton Oiler, I'm going to give Tristan Jarry my full support. And you know what? I don't think that's a bad trade. We'll get into the cap logistics and all of that in a little bit, but like, I don't know, man. It's just, there's something about it where it's like the storyline of Stuart Skinner being the hometown goalie, the hometown kid who backstops this team to a cup final. He was one game away from doing that. Young, 26. It felt like for a moment in time, that rookie season when he had a .915 save percentage or whatever it was.
Found something.
Found something.
Totally.
Even last year against Vegas and Dallas when he was ripping off shutouts like they were nothing, it was like, okay, like Stuart Skinner's in the zone here. This is going to be a different Stanley Cup final. It was supposed to work out better than this. And sports aren't a fairy tale. They aren't scripted. You don't get to write a good ending or whatever. But like, I feel bad that this didn't work. Like, this should have been a long-term partnership. The Oilers should have had their guy to get them to multiple Stanley Cups. And the fact it fell apart like this, again, going back to that rookie season, just crazy it fell apart the way that it did. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Every Day, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.